Hello, YouTube. I'm not gonna just mention intros though. This is actually kind of part two of the fall of Capcom and the rise of Mighty Number Nine. But this is actually gonna be a different situation though. This is actually Keiji Inafune versus Japan. The article right now I'm reading right now was released in March 8, 2012. This is something that I was really late on, but this is actually still going on this very day. Basically, right now that Keiji Inafune actually put more stuff that was going on that I didn't know about this though, and I realized this was going on, and he actually mentioned this on his Mighty Number Nine video Kickstarter, the Kickstarter video, and it just shows that this is actually kind of honestly true. Even though this article is made like 2 years ago, but it shows like how much the struggle is still going on this very day. Keiji Inafune, he left Capcom for a reason though, but he actually admitted that Japan is going through some hardships right now, and it sort of is, it not sort of, but it really is kind of true, because most of the games from Japan are actually kind of going to the point that it doesn't make sense at all anymore. It's kind of too generic anime-ish, and most of the games that are out there are being revised slowly, and it took them a very long time. And the thing is though that how much I actually I have a hate and love relationship with Capcom, but I also have a hate and love relationship with other Japanese companies as well. And this battle of Japanese gaming is still going on this very day. Even though all these good games are coming out there, like people are so hype about Metal Gear Solid 5, Castlevania Lord of Shadows, Bravely Default, and well, basically those are the games that are out right now. And with the upcoming Blaze Blue, the new Blaze Blue game, and that just shows like what's how the games are really improving from Japan now. But the thing is though, how much I really hate about this though, that when Kenji or Kenji, I'm sorry, whatever it goes, but I'm just gonna call him Kenji or Kenji. I'm sorry if I cannot pronounce his name right. He actually admitted this on 2009 when he said the Japanese industry were finished. Everyone in Japan gave me the stink eye for making such a bold statement. How dare you say our industry is dead? However, some of those folk are starting to run out of steam. And this is actually true. Back in 2009, most of the games that we got from there were kind of like not that great at all, man. And I do support on these games though. It's just I wish there was something that they could be improved on. And now when I think about it right now, the Japanese company is actually relying on only a certain series, and they barely give the other series a chance right there. Like Konami is actually relying on Metal Gear Solid the most though, because a lot of people enjoy Metal Gear Solid, but it seems like a bullshit move when they actually made the prices of the digital and physical copies both on PS3, well, last gen and current gen. And that just shows how fucked up that is though. And with Capcom relying on Street Fighter, and it's getting to the point that Street Fighter 4 is not getting that great. I was actually really disappointed of the edition mode on Ultra. You can switch to Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter, Arcade, and Ultra. But the thing is though, those previous games were the reason why we got this patch. And now this thing seems like an unfair game. And I'm glad that fighting game tournaments are out there, are actually banning this thing though, because if we go, people who are going to use Ken as Street Fighter 4, Shoryuken will be fucking completely broken. If they're going to let different versions, two versions of Arcade Edition, like the first release Arcade Edition and Arcade Edition 2013, Yoon will be fucking cheap as hell, and that's going to be a lot of bullshit. And I forgot which version was Chun-Li was going to be the fucking ridiculous looper. and Sagai being the extremely overpowered dominant as always, and since Street Fighter 2, that will happen. And this game of Street Fighter is just, it doesn't feel like Street Fighter being better at, and this is disappointing me a lot. And Square Enix is actually relying too much on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. I stopped playing Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 13 because it didn't felt what I expected. You know, a lot of people like 13 though, because you know you're not using turn-based games though, but it just wasn't that fun at all for me. And I'm glad Bravely Default actually made a difference. So yeah, it's turnabout, you know, it's turn-based game, but you know they give you more options, whatever you want to be. And I love the class system in that game. And I'm actually gonna just like, I prefer Bravely Default over Final Fantasy 13 series. You can hate me all you want, but I'm just being my honest self right here. With Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out very soon, people did get outraged that it was going to be on 360, and people keep saying, "Oh no, Kingdom Hearts needs to be on PlayStation only." When you actually realize that Kingdom Hearts other, you know, the spin-off series were actually on the Nintendo handheld games. So I don't know why people are flipping out when there's some games from the Kingdom Hearts franchise in Nintendo's handheld. And the thing is though, I actually gave up on Kingdom Hearts with these multiple pointless side stories. It's kind of cool to actually know some of the other people out there, and I'll admit though, you know, Roxas was just added in Kingdom Hearts 2, and he was just vanished. And you know, with 3252, no, I think 352, to 500, I don't know what it is though, I forgot. But you know, for the one for the DS, it shows that, you know, the story of Roxas and when he went through as in the organization 13. And you know, I'll admit that was actually very interesting. And Chain of Memories, it seems like a 1.5 though, so I didn't like it much though, but at least we get to show like how much, you know, the first set of the organization 13, even though you can fight them all over again in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Remix. And the other side stories were just completely pointless as hell. Birth by Sleep was a great game, but I don't think it was not necessary to be made in my opinion. And Recoded should be as a cell phone game, because I heard that game was supposed to be on a cell phone, and I think they should have just been on a cell phone. I played it, it was horrible, I didn't like it. And Dream Drop Distance was the actual sequel yet prequel to Kingdom Hearts 3, and that was okay though, but I didn't like how the system was at all. I just felt like everything I needed to do was rush, and it was kind of difficult to actually pay attention, especially when I need to rely on pick me up. And it sort of reminded me of 352 Days right there, except that game was felt like, you know, you had slots to do it, and you know what to use on your thing, and what level is your attacks were, and that's what I like about it. But with Dream Drop Distance was just kind of weird for me, and Square Enix is hoping that Kingdom Hearts 3 could get more, you know, more sales, and this is what I really hope for. I'm not gonna rely on this series, on this company though, but Kingdom Hearts 3 should make at least a comeback to Square Enix. And you know, thanks to Tomb Raider, it actually shows how much improved that game is. And Tomb Raider was not, you know, was a fan favorite game out there for many fans, not just by like, you know, anime fans. It was actually made by fans who loved the Tomb Raider series, even though I was never a fan of the first Tomb Raider series. But it just shows how much improvement of those previous games into this one we have right now. And I'm not including the next gen, you know, this gen, you know, graphics and all. I don't give a shit about graphics at all. I just love how the story really is and the origins of Lara Croft went through. You know, it seems that very interesting. And Nintendo, you know, they're basically going to rely on Mario and Pokemon mostly. and there is some games that Nintendo actually just dropped off, and now they're hoping that Super Smash Brothers, 3DS, Wii U. I wish they would have named it something better. But for me, I'll just call it Super Smash Brothers Strike. I don't know. I'm just putting a name for it. They're gonna try to rely on that game to make more sales, but the thing is, though, the reason why people bought a Wii U was just multiple things that they could play with, and how much they want to play Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is actually great, and I wish that Bayonetta 2 could be, a third-party game, but now it's being a Wii U exclusive, and, people who bought the Wii U, who wants Bayonetta 2, are waiting too much damn time, and, they're getting to the point it's getting frustrating, and they think they have the idea that buying a Wii U was just a regret. And I hope Nintendo hopefully could get Bayonetta 2 on time, and how much it is though. But I'm glad this game is being reworked and being double checked though, like on other games, like some games were not even fucking great at all, and they bother adding it in. And I really hope Nintendo does not rely on Super Smash Brothers, because there's other plenty games out there Nintendo could actually get. And I'm gonna name 2 of them though. And one of them with this game, I'm gonna name 3 of these, and they've been fucking ignored for a very long time. One of them barely got it in the Wii U. I mean, they're basically on the Wii. That is the Metro Prime series. Well, the Metro series. F-Zero. People want F-Zero so bad. It's a very fun go-kart game. Well, not go-kart, a very fun racing game. And this is a game we want to see, And this is another one that fans really want to see, and yet they didn't like the remake of it though. But they want to see Star Fox all over again. You can make the origins of Fox's father. It would be nice to know how did he die in combat. There's a loophole for people who doesn't even bother reading the manga or the comics out there. So you can make a game for it, that shows the story of Star Fox's father right there. And this is actually show it could actually make good money for you guys, Nintendo. But I'm glad that Nintendo's actually stepping up their game and selling all these previous games that are out there, like Game Boy Advance game, Game Gear, Game Boy Color, SNES, all these games are out there on the Wii U. And I really hope this idea could transfer to 3DS, and Nintendo sales will go even a little bit more. Because, there is other games we want to play on our 3DSs, but the only thing we can only play like a Game Boy Advance Color, a Game Boy Advance game or Game Boy Color, we need to go buy us the classic Nintendo DS. And the reason why I actually like the 3DS more, because it actually does have a lot of good games in it, especially for third-party games. And this is why this is a good thing that Nintendo is stepping up their game, and this is really good. And during the gap of the battle and the falling of the industry of Japan, some of these gaming companies are actually stepping up, like Square Enix success on Tomb Raider and semi-success of the Hitman series. Even though people didn't like the new Hitman game though, because it felt like it wasn't Hitman at all, but it was actually a really good game. And yeah, I don't know why people hate this game. Maybe the whole fucking the nudity in that game was, and the whole fucking bullshit drama with the nuns. Who knows? Maybe there was some riots and protests about that. And Capcom is actually stepping up on their game as well. They just released Strider, and Strider is very fun as hell. Especially, this is not a freaking HD pixelated remaster. This is actually a brand new Strider game with the help of Double Helix. And Double Helix is actually a good company that actually give us good games. We were worried about, because these guys started with the Green Lantern game, but with the results of Killer Instinct and now with Strider, these guys actually have a good reputation now, and I hope that they can use these guys later on in future projects to help them out with remaster HD games, especially on Capcom. And Sega, I really hope your Sonic games get better though. It's just that, you know, Sonic these days is getting ups and downs, and I'm not really a huge fan of Sonic though. But I just really hope the Sonic games, you know, gets to the point it feels like it's actually a very good Sonic game. Especially the horrible clash and disaster of Sonic 06. And, you know, that game really ruined the franchise of Sonic, even though Sonic is slowly climbing back up. But I really hope that one day you could make Sonic Adventures 3. You know, there's a lot of fans who are actually dying to play Sonic Adventures 3. And I hope you get the rise of Shenmue. I really enjoy playing Shenmue. I really actually did. It's been like a very long time I never played Shenmue, but it is really great. And I hope you guys could get the rights or collab with Nintendo, or not Nintendo, collab with Sony and make Shenmue 3. Because a lot of fans are dying to have Shenmue 3 out there. Or make an HD remake or remaster of Shenmue 1 and 2. So they can have it. You know, hell, at least make it a digital or physical. So the fans out there could feel happy about it. And that's what they should do. And the thing is, though, that Keiji Inafune is actually really right about this, though, because most of these games out there are only focusing on only the country itself. And when they want to release a game out there to the States, they're thinking like some, you know, something that, in my opinion, should say like, oh, these guys are going to like this game because, you know, in our country they like it here, so over there they should like it. But everyone always have a mixed reaction. It's never the same at all. We're not just sitting down there on our knees, bound down to you every game you release it. There's always a game out there that's gonna have ups and downs, including the games in America or other games released in England as well. And, you know, look at the Fable franchises. The Fable franchise just sucked it ass on the fucking train wreck of Fable 3. And I'm very happy to have Fable Anniversary in my hands, because it felt like the game I grew up with, and it feels like, you know, the game it should really had been. And, you know, we don't want games to be retro, but it wants to feel like it was the game we grew up with, you know? And this is one of the franchises out there that it should not be fucked around with all the time. And, you know, they decided to fuck it up, though, and they hope the freaking numbers will go rising. And this involved with Capcom as well again, and that's the Devil May Cry series. Devil May Cry, well, DMC is a good game, but it really pissed up the fanboys so goddamn much, including myself, how much they fucked up Dante, the image of him, his character, and everything, though. Everything was so fucking different. But I just couldn't argue with the whole level design at all. The whole level design feels fresh and new, and that is something I don't barely see in Devil May Cry games, because Devil May Cry games feels like that Castlevania feeling into it. And now look at Lord of Shadows. It's a freaking remake, a reboot of the Castlevania series, and people are actually enjoying it. And they sure love Gabriel, who is also known as Dracula now, and he's just pretty badass. And I barely get to play Lord of Shadows 2 though, because Meowski's is playing the most though, but it is fucking great. There is so many ways that Japan could save themselves, especially right now, that you guys cannot rely on the silliest things out there though. Especially how desperate you guys are going through. And people thought Nintendo was going to be shut down because they didn't make much sales on the Wii U, to the point that, you know, they're expecting high sales. And Wii U was released early as the next gen. And people just laugh at it because, like, oh, remember the time that PS3 has no games? Look at Wii U. And that's just how it is. People were worried that Nintendo was going to go downhill and be vanished in thin air. And that's a company we grew up as kids. And our children will grow up with those kind of games. Unless you're a shitty ass parent, let them play violent video games, which I don't know what the fuck you're doing in the first place. But this is something that you should not be playing around with at all. Just that this company we grew up with could have just died off, and there was no point reviving it. But good thing Nintendo stepped up and shit. And that's the same thing with Square Enix. Square Enix sales went down, really downhill. And it got to the point that they were desperate for money. And they were forced to fire, I think they were forced to fire employees in their company as well. And to me though, they're just too much, they're really relying too much on the Final Fantasy franchise. Especially the whole bullshit you guys made us go through with I think it was the ending DLC on Final Fantasy 13-2, which is completely bullshit right there. And it should be at least an unlockable ending, not a fucking purchase ending. We already paid you guys with the money for it, but you guys should throw that into our faces right there. And Capcom too. I made a video that Capcom could have died as well. They only have 152 million in their pockets. Like I said, it is a lot to us though, but to them it's like a screw up right there. And Capcom stepped up their game as well, releasing DuckTales Remastered. It made a lot of sales though, because that has put the fans' personal favorite out there, and fans went to go buy that AZP. Some of them got physical copies just to buy it, and that made Capcom sales a little bit higher. But in return, they lost the rights of the Marvel series, and we are never gonna get Marvel vs. Capcom 4 or any updates on Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that's just something we can't go through. We had to deal with. And even though I'm only focusing on these three companies there though, because the reason why though, because these guys been on the bankruptcy zone many times already, including Sega. Sega went downhill, but they bought Atlas, and Atlas is a very good company, and I actually enjoyed their game. Especially the Catherine example, actually, Catherine. I thought Catherine was just some weird game because the art design looks so weird in-game cutscenes, but when you saw the anime cutscenes and how great that game was, it just shows how great this is. And Atlas has actually became my personal favorite gaming company. They just take their time on games though. It's just that their games are really great, and I'm glad these guys are going to be a company now, like a big company that they could focus on. And I just hope Atlas does not go downhill the same way of these three companies I grew up with as well. And this is the thing here too. This is what Keiji Inafune mentions in here. Oh wait, my bad. This is I don't know if it's Keiji Inafune who said this though, or somebody else, but this is what it is. I feel like we rarely see new creations from Japan. We stick to our memories and up-res a game or ship out an HD version. I feel like the upper limit we're showing to our users today, that is not what they want. I really do like HD games though, but that quote right there actually does mention something, really has a big feeling right there. And I'm going to compare it to games from Japan and games from the outside of Japan. Like for example, BioShock Infinite, it was a great game, and it was not really a big cliche as hell, like I'm going to give a perfect example. Final Fantasy games right there. Final Fantasy are really kind of cliche to get to. And it is very cliche. And when it came to BioShock, we were just like, we were wrong the whole time. Especially, with Broker and Elizabeth. We thought they're going to be like a love interest, but they just showed the respects as a partner. And, that is something we haven't seen at all. And The Last of Us, which is Naughty Dog's really good game, and is going to be a movie as well, which I really hope they do not fuck up on this game. And The Last of Us was really great. I freaking sit there with a friend of mine, play that game because I just want to watch them play though, because one day I want to buy myself a PS3 and buy my own copy. And this is my my time. I was like, well, I want to know what this game really about. And I went to them, and it is beautiful as hell, man. It's just really beautiful, and it shows like how popular that game is and how unique it is too. Not only just The Last of Us, Metro Last Light, which is a survival horror game, and we barely see those games in Japan now because Capcom bailed out the survival horror games, and there's a few survival horror games from Japan though, but I haven't not encountered them yet. And when it came to Metro Last Light, that game really does scare the shit out of me. No fucking joke. I played that game just for a while, and I'm still playing on Metro 2033, just, as in the Ranger mode. And that shit does scare the fuck out of me a lot. And that's why I'm such a really big fan of survival horror. Because it just shows, like, it could conquer your mind and show how unique it is. And the whole story about those two games were really, really great. You're in a survival apocalypse with, not zombies, but mutated monsters. And people who just want to survive, like anyone else will want to survive and risk and kill in a apocalypse. And that just shows how great this game is. Let's see, is here, I do know there's other games that are out there though, but it's just that, I'm just going to mention those things only right there. Oh, my bad. Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this one, though. And people are like, oh, great. Here comes Fanboy Addict. Yes, I do like GTA 5. Even though there's only one character I did not get along with, though. But he's still my favorite in the game, though. But the whole game about it was just showing the story of three main protagonists, Michael, Trevor, Franklin. They show like what their ups and downs and what the desire they want and whatever the sacrifice they need to do to get what they want. Like in every action movie, when it comes to like the situation when they need to sacrifice whatever they need to get, sacrifice their own life to get what they want. And each one was just getting more dramatic and dramatic as hell. Like Michael, he just wants a good life and be a director of a movie a movie era he enjoys so much because he's old-fashioned. Trevor is just a psychoholic, a psychopath, but yet he just wants to be known that he's there. Like, he's one of those cliche anime characters, like he went through tough times though, but he wants somebody to respect him and love him for the way he is, so he doesn't feel lonely at all. But Trevor just shows like how much a badass he really is. So he's not cliche of an anime character. And Franklin, he's the same thing as Franklin though, but no. Franklin wants to be like CJ. It's just that it was a little bit more different than CJ. CJ came back from Liberty City to go to see what happened to his mother, while Franklin was just complete opposite. He just wants to be a somebody, and that's some of us wants to be like that. This is why most games in this day are kind of have ups and downs, but yet in the games out of Japan, it seems that these games are being more unique as hell. It's not a generic recopy, reskin of a game. And Japan should realize the sales of these games from other places outside of Japan really are doing, and what made them go through that. They could learn a few things about this too. And that's the thing though too. Some of these former employees, such as Keiji Inafune, he went to go make concept and finish what he wants to be left off. He wants to make the spiritual successor of Mega Man. Mighty Number 9, which it actually did reach around $4.09 million, and that just shows how much the fans really want. Not something like, oh, I can't wait for this new game. It's gonna be It's gonna be the same kind of thing, just a little tweaks in it, and make it new as it's supposed to be. Um, and that same thing with River City Ransom. We have never heard of that game a very long time yet. Is bringing back alive as a sequel, and a group of people are making that though. And even though it didn't make a lot of money on it, but it reached the goal it was supposed to be, and that just shows how much the fans really want that game too. Even though it should be, that game will be that game should be, treated as equal as Mario number 9. But even though it made low budget, but I'm glad this game's beyond works and it's going to be great, and I can't wait for those. And beat 'em up games are sure as fun and sure as side scrollers like Mighty Number 9. Speaking of that side scrollers, Shantae. Shantae was a Capcom game that Capcom just abandoned it. And the last Shantae game was on the DSi, which you could buy for $15, and you could buy a digital copy of Shantae in the 3DS shop. So you could buy both of those games for $20, and they're still fun. And Shantae actually reached the amount of, it reached amount of perks and unlockables. I'm sorry, I'm really confused here on my own words. But it reached to certain goals that it could make it, the fans really want. Even though it did not reach a lot of money as Mighty Number 9, but it just shows how much the fans really want Shantae. And Shantae was just not a freaking a sticker right there and just slide off like just the other games the other franchise, other companies decide to do. They only release like a few, like a game or so, and just forget about it. And this is why I fucking hate the most though. And this is involved with a lot of these Japanese game companies though. But I really hate that they're releasing some of these games in mobile. I know mobile games were actually big in Japan, but when you release it out of Japan, most gamers do not like actually playing mobile games on their cell phones. That's why we have portable games and portable consoles like the 3DS and Vita. You could make digital downloads on those and make it great. And what I hate though, that most of these games has ridiculous fucking DLCs, especially the Mario DLC, that you could make Mario jump Luigi high for $1. Just a jump boost for $1. And yes, even though it's $1, but wouldn't that be a cheat code at least? And the thing is though that this is involved with Square Enix as well. Square Enix microtransaction fucking Final Fantasy All the Bravest. And I forgot how much that game was though, but I think it was around $5 through $15. And yet you're gonna make people pay more money just to play other classes and iconic Final Fantasy characters to be played on freaking in the battlefield. And that's just really fucked up right there. You got the money from the purchase, why make these characters to be microtransaction? And this is why we hate cell phone games though, because we really hate microtransaction. The only time microtransactions should be kicked in is on free RPG games, free MMORPG. That's it. When it comes to other shit though, like mobile games, PC games, such as Facebook games, those things should fucking be ignored at all, because they're not gonna help us at all. And plus, what if the player actually finished that game, All of the Bravest, with all these microtransactions? He's not gonna get his money back. I don't know how much he spent though, but it seems like he's not gonna get it back at all. And it was the waste of his time right there. He could be the biggest cocksucker of the freaking that company, but he just made a freaking a fool out of himself. And this is why I hate though too. And I made a rant video that Capcom spend $49 million on mobile games, which it pisses off a lot of Capcom fans out there, which they could have used that money to finish the canceled Mega Man games, or give other game franchises out there too. But we're glad that we got Strider in our side though. There's other games that are out there that should be recognized too. Even though Strider is a remaster game though, but it feels like a better remaster. It's not like a few tweaks of graphics. It feels like a brand new Strider game, and that's what we like about it too. I could talk about more about this though, but it just shows that these companies needs to get to snap out of it, and this is still going on this very day. This article may be old, but it's still happening on this very day, with the ridiculous ideas of they think they will do, and they think that Keiji Inafune is just an idiot out there, and this is why in fucking many animes, cliches, cartoons, movie cliches, the fool will become the hero no matter what he will do. And that's what Keiji Inafune wants to do. He wants to be the hero of Japan. And some people actually are following the same way he's going to. The creator of Resident Evil, he's making it Evil Within. It's a survival horror game which fans really demanded the most. Other game companies out there who left those, out of there, making their own games with the help of others and getting Kickstarter money to help them out to make these games good, and they were going to do what they need to do. Even though you may have the lowest budget on a Kickstarter though, but you reach the goal, you still could try your best to do what you want to do. You may have the highest budget of Kickstarter though, but you want to please your fans very much though. It doesn't matter who is who. It's just the decisions you guys are relying on too. And it doesn't matter about what the sales shows you on Japan. That is, to be honest though, Japan is a small island compared to other countries combined. And that's just one place that you're going to have most of your money come through. But if you're going to spread out more out of Japan, your sales will be random. It could be high, it could be low, but it really depends what you guys really did. And you guys should stop recycling and rehashing the same thing from your games. And even though we could use these HD remakes, it's still not gonna make us feel happy at all though, because they still make us wonder, are you guys gonna do this like what you did in the HD versions on your future projects? And that's what we really want. We can have all these HD classics out there, but our only thought is gonna be, are you guys gonna be like this? You guys gonna act the way you did back in the past and do it in your future projects, or are you gonna rely on sales and just keep your head buried and just on the ground? Basically, it doesn't matter what's going on right there though, because I hope that, these people will actually realize the mistakes they have done and should not rely on sales no more. And this is one game that not one game. These major gaming companies out there in Japan should stop relying on sales and focus on their fans out there, because the fans know what they want, and the fans can help you as well. And if you need help, I highly recommend you to look around at least the Kickstarter projects, the hype about a game that we were excited for, and other stuff are out there too. Especially, those other underrated, the underrated Japanese developed companies, they're still getting the fan favorites out there too. Right now, I'm super hype about Guilty Gear XR, even though they lost the rights to them. But now, since they got the rights back, a lot of people are jumping back to the Guilty Gear train, and they're so happy to wait for that game to come out for PS3 and PS4. And that just shows how much a game or a franchise that was left behind and revive in the game industry. And it shows how much improvement and love the fans really want. Usually I would just rant the shit out of my fucking self to the point that I'm just cussing shit, saying random things, or blabbering out the mouth of the way I am. But I really just hope that these companies just needs to stop relying on a certain franchise and listen to their fans really well and give them what they want. You can make all those HD remakes though, but you're going to realize those HD remakes makes better sales than your actual games you're making right now. Even though they only sell like $40 a pop in the States, it's still actually it actually is worth our $40 than a $60 game that really wasn't worth it at all. And this is what Keiji Inafune said on the very end. And this is what I'm going to read what he said. A year ago, I chose a hard route. I could have stayed with Capcom and taken the easy route, but I'm sure it would have been fairly easy, at least temporarily. But I realized it's not what I wanted. I said goodbye to 900 staff, left the building, and formed a new company with a very small group of people, just 20. I know it was the right thing to do. I'm confident. I'm working freely and enjoyingly doing what I do. He concealed his tongue and promised to introduce a new hero from Japan. And when I do, we will battle again. The Japanese industry has had a rough ride of the years. GDSC, well, basically I'm not gonna read this one though, but it involves with the Fez games, which Fez 2 is coming out, and that is good. Especially how much of a douche he did with the money and say all that shit on Twitter. But this just shows that a fool compared to you guys is doing something he know it is the right thing to do. And I just really hope you guys could follow his path as well, and you could feel back how a one man hard decision can change many lives out there in the video gaming industry. And I want to talk about this stuff, but I really don't want to talk about it anymore. And I just showed, and basically I'm just gonna say that how much these gaming companies from Japan actually did are really bad and serious events to their employees that some of them actually will commit suicide for. And I will mention only one though, because this is the only one I really makes me upset a lot, especially from Capcom. Capcom actually forced a woman to do all this work for them, and she was to the point she wanted to commit suicide. She didn't commit suicide at all though, but it just shows how much rough of a greedy gaming industry can be, and these companies are actually acting greedy right now, especially how bankrupt you guys are. And you should not really, once again, and very, very once again, never rely on yourselves. Just rely on the faith and love of your fans out there, and it can make a huge difference. I thank you, Keiji Inafune, for making the hardest choice of your life, but yet you succeeded with the help of the fans out there with Mighty Number 9. I will actually give my thanks and respect to people who are working on River City Ransom Underground and Shantae. I'm actually looking forward for those 3 games out there from those Kickstarter events. I'm actually so hyped about Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear XR, and Evil Within. And I'm actually can't wait to play Lower Shadows 2 as well. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a mix though, but I'll still give it a try. Kingdom Hearts 3, I'll give it a try as well, but it still won't make me enjoy it as much though, since the freaking side stories really made me lose the love of the games. I'm done talking for no meanwhile. I have another rant I want to talk about, and I really want to save my energy for this though. This is just my passion talk about this game, this company, and my full respect to Inafune. This is X-Chat Xanath. Have a wonderful day, and if you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, leave a thumbs down. Share your opinions and thoughts on the comment section. If you want to hear about more of this stuff later on, or our Let's Play, or my rants, and Miyasuki's incoming rants, give us a subscribe right there, and we will give you this content later on. And please gaming industries from Japan, please follow this man's route. It could save you one day, and it will make you realize you guys were the actual fools, not him. Goodbye.